The last three survivors of what's now called the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921 are still fighting for justice.
We have to live with each other.
After 100 years of not being compensated for all that they lost when a white mob backed by city and state authorities burnt down the black Greenwood neighborhood of Tulsa, they're now in a battle over an attempt to cash in on the atrocity. And this week they achieved a victory: the cancellation of a commemorative concert headlined by Grammy Award winner John Legend at this baseball field built on land where once black houses and businesses stood. The concert was organized by the Tulsa Centennial Commission for its commemoration entitled Greenwood Rising. It has sought no input from the survivors. What it has sought is millions of dollars of corporate sponsorship, $30 million alone for a museum documenting the massacre. And the commission is clear: its goal is the gentrification of Greenwood and the area's repurposing as a site of what it calls cultural tourism. But the commission, supported by city and state officials, has refused financially to compensate or even support reparations for the massacre's survivors.
It is not about making Tulsa look good. It is not about cultural tourism. It is about the people and the justice they have been waiting on for 100 years.
The Greenwood district of Tulsa was known in the early 20th century as the Black Wall Street, teeming with prosperous homes and businesses, a place where the city's black community could live without fear. But over the course of May 31st and June the 1st, a white mob burnt the neighborhood down, killing some 300 residents and forcing thousands to flee, encouraged by city and state authorities eager to redevelop the land. Memories are still vivid for those who remain.
I remember running outside of our house. I just passed dead bodies. It wasn't a pretty sight. I still see it today in my mind 100 years later.
For decades, what's thought to be the US's worst racist massacre wasn't taught in schools or even mentioned as part of a cover-up. But since the 90s, there has been growing awareness of the crime. Now, brass plaques line the streets of the former black neighborhood, showing what was lost. Now the survivors want nothing to do with the corporate Greenwood Rising commemoration.
They have raised more than $30 million and have refused to share any with me or the other two survivors. They have used my name to further their fundraising goals without my permission.
A group called Justice for Greenwood has organized its own commemorative events like this march with the survivors. They had long argued that the official ceremonies were being overseen by the direct descendants of those who burnt down Black Wall Street in the first place. For those fighting for justice for Greenwood, this commemoration has vividly demonstrated just how little has changed in the 100 years since a white mob, backed by city authorities, looted its black population. Shihab, Rattansi, Jazeera, Tulsa, Oklahoma.